Hey boys and girls, it's Ron Bass with another edition of Soar High Personal Development, your source for inspiration. Hey, today we're going to talk about a pretty basic topic. Oh, by the way.
Man, can you believe it? Can you believe the host of the podcast
As a cell phone.
is going to run up and just keep his cell phone, both cell phones on loud?
That's hilarious.
That's insane.
By the way, I forgot to introduce Davin Hunley, our producer.
That's me.
Soar High Personal Development, and for our podcast, and also our producer for Soar High Records / Entertainment.
Yes.
Soar High Entertainment / Records, whatever you want to call it.
The executive producer for Soar High Entertainment.
There you go. So, Davin's joining me today, and we're going to talk about relationships.
Interesting.
Two types of relationships. One, platonic. The other, romantic.
Okay.
And there's a big difference, obviously.
Right.
I think that I'm going to go down a list here of some items, but the reality is that romantic relationships, and it's because of its nature, is really more complicated than just platonic relationships. But we're going to talk about relationships in general.
Right.
What causes relationships to not go so well? How about poor communication?
Yes, that's probably number one.
Probably number one, huh?
Yeah, miscommunication.
What do you think happens? People, they just hold it in. They don't talk about something that's bothering them, and then it festers, and eventually it comes out, and then there's a big problem.
Yeah.
Versus what should be done.
You got to talk about it right then and there. If you have a problem with somebody or something, even yourself, say it.
Get it right out on the table right away. Hit it head on.
You have to put it in the air.
How about speaking from your own experience? What have you found out? Because you've had a relationship for, 4 or 5 years? Give or take?
Yeah, somewhere around there. I would say...
Versus me, I've had a relationship in a long time. A romantic relationship.
I would say...
And we're talking about a romantic relationship.
Right.
Okay.
Correct. I would say that...
Or are you even romantic? You don't strike me as a romantic person.
I am... I can be.
Can you be behind the scenes? Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely... it's...
I've never met your girlfriend?
Really?
No.
Yeah, she doesn't come out very often.
I can tell.
She just hangs out.
She's like a recluse.
Yeah, she kind of just does her own thing, but she's busy as well, I
get it. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Oh, I already know. I think that, in my own experience, you have this thing that bothers you, and if you don't say something, in a couple of weeks or a couple of days, it's going to come back around, and you're going to say something and you're not going to mean it.
So you've learned from your own mistakes to get it out on the table, get it out and hit it head on and talk about it and work it out.
You have to.
You know what I've learned over the years? It's like the balloon thing where you let somebody, when they really get angry and they start talking, just shut up and listen. And eventually it's like a balloon letting the air out. Eventually it just winds down. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then they've said everything they wanted to say, and you're just nodding your head, shaking your head,
Yep.
And then when it's all done, they're like, ooh, they feel better.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you feel better knowing that you were able to let them voice their feelings and get it out on the table. And that's the best way I've learned to deal with that sort of thing.
You have to. You have to communicate. If you don't communicate, it will not work. Whether it's in a platonic relationship, like a business partner,
or a romantic
relationship. Correct.
So poor communication is a big deal.
Yes.
Let's check that one off.
Huge deal.
And we'll come back around to some of these and talk even in more depth about them. How about people growing apart? How does that work? That could be platonic or it could be romantic.
You're hitting the nail on the head. We'll go with that. I think that just as an example, I'll go with my relationship. I'm not afraid to talk about my personal life. We've been together for a couple of years, and the person that she met when I was 21 is not the person I am now.
Interesting.
I have changed a lot. I've grown a lot. I've learned a lot, and
you're like a sponge, aren't you? You just like take it all. You just suck it all in.
I have to. If you don't, then you miss too much. I'm very man. What is it? What's the word for it? Me and Malik talk about it a lot. I'm very perceptive.
Very.
I am an extremely perceptive person. I've been like that my entire life.
You must have a high IQ because you learn quickly and you take things on without hesitation.
I don't know. Yeah, that would be a fair statement. I have never taken an IQ test, so I'm really not sure.
I have. My IQ is about 115, 118, so I'm like a little above par. The genius is like 150.
Wow.
A friend of mine took a IQ test the other night, a girl that helps me with my dojo, and she was 135.
Wow.
Very high. I knew she was highly intelligent. You can tell.
Right. And I think that I would say that, you know, I want to go back to the people, you know, come like fading away from each other, you know.
Okay.
People change.
People growing apart.
Yes, people growing apart. People change. Things change. The world changes. Your environment is ever changing. So, you know, I wasn't doing this 3 years ago when I met my girlfriend.
You were a student.
Yeah, I was just at school. I worked at the finish line. Yeah.
So both students, really.
Correct. And then now, you know, she's still a student, but
now you're a full-time professional, and she's still a student.
Correct.
So there is some growing apart there.
Right, and it's, you know, like I said, I've changed. I've fallen even more in love with music. You know, I've said this to her before, and she understands. You know, music will always be the thing that I love because
without music.
Yeah, without music, I can't do anything. You know, I couldn't live my life.
It's your drug of choice.
It is. So I've told her that, and, you know, that goes back to the communication.
Yeah.
You know,
and she says that she understands. And that it's okay. It's okay.
And that she's okay with, you know.
Is she just saying that, or do you sense that she means that?
I sense that she means it. I think if, you know, like
push comes to shove, you think that maybe.
I think that we're both in the agreement, and we were both in agreement of, if something were to happen, you know, if we were to break up, then that's okay.
Be okay.
Yeah, she changed my life. I changed her life. You know, we will always be like with each other. You know, in a sense.
In some way, sure.
Right.
But as far as going forward, maybe as a full-time thing, that could change in the future. It sounds like
you're right. It could, and I don't think that
that's not a bad thing.
Wrong with
I think as long as she recognizes it, you're on the same page.
Right.
There again, back to good communication. You're talking about it. You're getting out. You're not holding it back.
Correct.
And I think more people need to follow that line of logic.
I agree with you.
That line of thinking. What else, if I can read my writing here? Oh, different points of view. People, and we'll come back to these points later, but so people have different points of view, like maybe religious viewpoints are different, maybe how to raise children. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Particularly if you have a relationship with somebody that's got children, you don't have children.
Exactly. Political views,
religious views, how to raise children.
You know what's funny? I've always I know that since the last couple of years, I've told myself, if I were to ever get into another relationship, I wouldn't care about, you know, political views, you know, religious views. You know, the thing is, people have come to the conclusion that others have their own opinions, and they can have that. That doesn't mean that you can't have a connection with somebody. You know, you always call me a lib, even though I'm not a lib, you know, and you're conservative, but you're not overly conservative.
Right.
You know, so we
we both have some liberal and some conservative views about different subjects.
Exactly.
So I'm like you, I don't like to be labeled any certain kind of way.
Yeah,
we're all about truth.
Yes.
We're all about wanting to help people that want to be helped.
Correct.
That's really who we are.
Correct.
And, you know, whether it's music, whether it's business, whether it's just being a friend to somebody. And like tonight at our dojo, it was really great because I'm working with the person that's autistic.
Right.
And, you know, the person, everything's more difficult.
Right.
But that person really wants to learn martial arts. So I'm determined to supply that person with that opportunity. And I feel like it's an honor to try to help that person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look at it as a burden. I look at it as an opportunity to help somebody change their life and go from, he was bullied a lot as a kid and had a lot of anger. He's got a lot of anger inside, and he wants to learn how to control the anger and learn how to defend himself.
Right.
Good reasons to want to train martial arts, right? So, any rate, so now what about, here's another point, lack of honesty, not being honest with each other, or whether it's cheating on each other. That's a big problem.
Yes.
Cheating's a big problem.
Huge problem.
Let's talk about cheating.
Okay.
I read an article that well over half of all relationships cheat on each other. And I'm not sure how they come up with those numbers, but I'm sure there's some scientific way.
Probably.
That's pretty alarming to me.
I was actually talking about this with one of my friends tonight, and he had mentioned that it was interesting. He was like, in today's relationships, it's kind of like, all right, well, let's just make it work until one of us cheats. And I was like, what? I was like,
what causes the cheating? How about that for a question? I think it's human nature.
Someone's not good enough is what
I think it's human nature. I told one of my employees tonight, I said, I don't think monogamy is realistic.
Okay.
I think that human beings are made to have multiple mates.
Okay.
And I think that...
Like an animalistic type thing?
Yeah, and I think that that's just human nature. So that I think under certain conditions, what happens is you lose control over your best judgment. Drinking, mad, anger, your girlfriend or wife's not giving you, the sexual gratification you need, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I think it's probably not as difficult as you think why people cheat.
So we can almost wear it down to environment.
I think so.
I would agree with you.
Now other people are going to be critical. Hey, well, that's not right. You're a chauvinist. No, I'm a realist. I just think now women. They say women are similar to the men. I don't think they're quite the same. I think women are more interested in financial security and physical security than they are about sex. But men, up until the age of say 30, they're just crazy about sex. That's just the biology. That's just the way it works. When you get older, you can still have a great sex drive, but it's more based on for simpler, more basic reasons. It's different. It's different.
I gotta say, like when I was.
You're not hot to trot every second like you are when you're 18 or 16. Heck, when I was 16 years old, the wind would blow and I'd get an erection.
Exactly.
But when you're 60 or 70, and I work out every day, and I still have a strong sex drive, but it's not like that.
Right.
I can perform properly, but it's not like you get constant. You're not constantly aroused.
I would say even for me,
it takes something to be aroused.
Right. I'd say even for me, like I would rather I personally I have a good sex drive. I'm 25. I'm a healthy young man. But I don't go home every night and I'm like, yeah, let's have sex. I could care less. I could give a shit. I'm not that type of person.
Well, if you had a new mate, I bet you would feel like that.
Maybe.
Because that's back to the idea of monogamy versus having multiple mates. You get turned on with. I mean, we're getting kind of deep here, but I'm just being realistic.
Right. No, I understand.
And I've seen guys that are happily married, but when they have a few drinks. And a pretty woman starts flirting with them, boy, they get hot to try. That's just reality.
That's that environment.
Now, if you're married, one reason I never got married was I didn't think I could be faithful. So I said I'm not going to do that to my wife.
Right.
I'll just stay single, and so I have to stay single because I don't think I have the discipline. Could I learn to be disciplined? I think I could learn. Well,
you do have the discipline to say that you don't want to be in a relationship because.
But it's probably selfish to say these things and be like this. But
sometimes you have to be selfish.
I don't like that.
I agree.
But there again, if that's the worst thing in my life, I'm probably okay compared to what it could be like.
True.
Well, we're going to get a lot of hate mail, but just going down the line here, man.
No, that's all right. Hey.
Lack of honesty. Okay, so now let's see if I can read my handwriting here. Okay, alcohol, drugs, and mental illness, I think that plays a huge role in how relationships go. Let's talk about that a little bit.
I will say yes, but I can tell you from my own experience, it has not affected any of my relationships.
I see it affect relationships all day long, every day.
Right.
Half of my employees are upside down with some kind of addiction issues and how it affects their girlfriend, boyfriend relationships.
Right.
It's terrible. And then you wind up doing terrible things, and you wind up going to jail, and you wind up having remorse, and you wind up
feeling guilty.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
And when people drink or drug, which is really drinking is drug, it's still drug.
It is a drug.
You're altering your brain. You think different. You act different. You are different, and you do things that are crazy sometimes.
Right.
And you wouldn't if you were sober. Don't you agree?
I would agree.
So I think that takes a big toll on relationships, platonic or romantic.
Yes, I'm going to.
I went out with you the other night. We were friends, and all you did was talk to everybody but me. And you were drunk, and you were acting stupid. And I don't ever want to hang out with you again. Now, that's a platonic relationship.
Yeah.
Because even in a platonic relationship, I had a friend one time. I often wondered if he was homosexual, but he dated a lot of women. But he treated me like a girlfriend. He would get mad if I didn't give him attention. He would get really angry with me, and I reflect on that every once in a while because I still to this day. Not that it matters if he was or wasn't, because he never like hit on me like that. But he treated me like he would treat somebody if you were feeling jealous of them not getting your attention. Right. You're not paying enough attention to me. And he wrote me letters. I mean, it was weird. So I'm not a homophobic by any means. Let people live the way they want to live. But I often wondered about that. So let's say that he was just like a heterosexual. For him to act like that is another example, I think, of even in a platonic relationship where people can get very angry if they're not getting the attention that they deserve. I'm your best friend. You're not going to give me attention. Screw you, buddy.
Exactly.
Right or wrong?
I agree. I will say we are at 15 minutes.
Oh, we are?
We are.
Wow. We only got about 5 minutes to go.
We can do whatever we want, though.
Before we bore people anymore.
It is just us.
It is just us.
We can do whatever the hell we want.
We're doing pretty. We're getting some good messages out to the world. How about that?
Always.
Well, on the mental illness side, by the way, we both know about some people in our lives that are what I would consider to be bipolar. Right. They're very manic and they're very depressed. They're very manic. They're very depressed. Bipolar, up and down, up and down, up and down. Moody. Best friend for 1 minute, and the next minute you can't stand to be around them because they act stupid, they make you mad, they hurt you, they disappoint you, they don't keep their word, yada, yada, yada. Sound familiar?
Maybe.
So, bipolar, mental illness plays another big role in relationships. And you know what's sad? I got a friend right now, multi-gazillionaire, guy's almost 60 years old, takes on a new girlfriend, he's been married for 35, 40 years, takes on a girlfriend, and just, he's like on all the social media platforms talking about her, showing her pictures, gloating about it. With his wife, he's still married. And he's doing all this. It's so disrespectful to his wife.
Yeah.
But this guy has got some problems. I mean, like I don't even want to tell you some of the things what he's done lately, but it tells me that he's definitely either got a drug addiction or a mental problem, or both. Maybe the drugs are probably encouraging the mental problem.
Right.
So another example of how you can relationships can go very bad with mental illness or with drugs. I think in his case, there's both. And I love this guy to death. If you met him, he's just the nicest guy in the world, but he's really got problems.
I think it goes back to that environment that we talked about.
I told another friend of mine, I said, this guy needs to go and seek medical assistance. I don't know if it's psychologist, psychiatry, medical, whatever, or friendship or mentorship or a rabbi or something.
Right.
And get his life straightened out, whatever that means. If it's drugs, if it's the right kind of medication, if it's shock treatment. My brother had shock treatments, and it would straighten.
They don't do that anymore.
Yes, they do. They still do it in hospitals. They put them to sleep. There's something about the shock that straightens out the electrical impulse in the brain. They still do it. I'm telling you, man, when my brother was in one of his episodes and they would do that to him, he would return to normal. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It's probably the neurons in your brain.
Something about it. I know the technology is better today than 30, 40, 50 years ago, but I think they still do it. And if it works, it works.
Yeah.
They put you to sleep. They don't like the old days where they put a stick in your mouth and shock you. Those days are gone.
I know
that's what's in your brain.
No, I want to say that maybe 6-7 years ago they
stopped it.
Yeah, they criminalized it. Because it was close to torture. It was an offense.
It's not torture when you're asleep.
I know.
It's if it's a helpmate. If it helps you, it helps you.
I agree.
So at any rate, I told my friend tonight, another friend of mine, actually an employee, I said, look, man, you are still hanging out with people you got these relationships and they're toxic.
Yeah.
And every time you do this, you get in trouble. You go to jail, or you lose a job, or you get back on drugs. And then this person starts rationalizing, oh, yeah, but this time it's going to be different. No, it's not. You have to eliminate people in your life that are toxic, that are bad for you, that are pulling you down. Sorry, I wish it wasn't like this, but it's the only way you've got a chance at having your own life to return to normal and to be a successful person. Forget about the money, just to be a successful human being and feel good about yourself every day.
And wake up every day, yeah. Exactly.
Right or wrong.
Right, 100% right.
So that's another relationship issue.
I've had to do that myself, That's your own personal relationship with yourself. You have to get people out of your life that aren't making it better.
Thank you. And it takes some courage to do it. I get it. It's not easy because that's also an addiction when you have somebody in your life that you care about.
Yeah.
But you have to eliminate it if you're ever going to be successful, in my opinion.
I agree.
Well, a quick story and then we'll wrap things up. This is kind of off the subject, but when I went to college in Springfield, it was called SMS, which was Southwest Missouri State, in Springfield, Missouri. Now it's called Missouri State University, MSU. And a guy by the name of John Goodman was going to school there. He was in the drama department. And there was a guy named Howard Orms, who was the acting coach. And Howard Orms was my acting coach. Because back in those days, when I went to college, my goal was to be a broadcaster or to be an actor. And I remember Howard Orms vividly. He was this guy, he was this mentor that would force you to do things you weren't comfortable to do. And because he knew it was going to be good for you. Same thing all these years later that I have with my jiu-jitsu black belt. He forces me to do things that aren't comfortable because he knows that's the only way I can improve myself.
That's how I am with my artists.
That's how you are with your artists, right, exactly. So John Goodman was a student at the same college I was, had the same coach that I had. He was a few years ahead of me. Well, the rest is history. John Goodman, I quit college after the first year. John Goodman graduated. He wound up in, I believe, either New York or Los Angeles, wound up getting acting jobs, commercials, this and that. And by the way, he didn't go to college to be an actor. He went to college on a football scholarship out of St. Louis, Missouri. But it didn't go well. He wound up getting a small part to play and this and that. And one thing, and he just fell in love with it. Like he fell in love with music. He fell in love with acting. Well, so Howard Orms, man, what a guy. This guy was great. So Goodman goes on to become I met him one time, by the way, about 10 years later. I was dating a gal who had a girlfriend who was a sugar bear, which is like the
dance team.
The dance team at the college, and they were really good friends. And he came to Springfield, can't remember for what reason, and I got to shake hands with him. I think we had a drink together, and that's my claim to fame, right? I got to meet John Goodman. So Goodman goes on to become a super successful actor, been gazillions of movies, Roseanne's husband on this TV show, blah, 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 blah. Still there, doing TV right now again. It's called it's not called Roseanne anymore. It's called it's a sitcom anyway. It's on television. And he only makes like $1 million a week or something crazy like that. It's something crazy.
No big deal.
Yeah, but anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that because of mentorship, this guy was able to go on to become so successful, and he always paid his respects to Howard Orms. He would come back to Springfield, see him, always bring him to Hollywood when he had a new movie come out and be his guest. When he died, he came to Springfield, did his eulogy, and now, just to close out, he just finished raising up millions of dollars to build a new little theater, amphitheater, whatever it is on campus. Yeah, it's the John Goodman Amphitheater, whatever it's called, in honor of Howard Orms' coach. I just think it's fitting to kind of close this out today talking about honoring the people that have honored you and helped you and got you to where you got to. And never forget that, guys. It's always show your respect to people that have gone out of their way to be in your court and help you.
You have to. That's why I always tell you thank you every day.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Any closing thoughts, sir? We'll wrap this thing up. And
I'm going to say I'm going to end on what I always end on with all of our relationship podcasts. Communicate. The first one that you talked about, that's the biggest one that there is. You have to communicate. If you don't, it won't work. That's just point blank period. Seal it, ship it off.
Well, we'll end on that positive note. So until next time, everybody, stay positive.